Came here a couple months after Hurricane Maria. After a hurricane, everybody, the next day, they have no power, no water, can't flush their toilet, no refrigerator, no air conditioning, no roof. So I see that as like being, it's like you're totally dependent on the government and the corporations to take care of you. But the architecture we do, it takes care of you. So that's what motivated starting this project, because hurricane, earthquake, anything can roll through. You still can flush your toilet, you have drinking water, a nice cool space. These circle designs are safe in a hurricane and an earthquake. They're structurally more stable. This will take care of you, and then you don't have to pay the government and you don't have to pay the corporations for basic human needs, So when we see that, we're like, that's not right. And then we saw how the U.S. federal government didn't do anything. FEMA didn't do much support. And so we're like, people of Puerto Rico are treated like different than the rest of the people in the U.S. because it's a territory. And so it's just not right. So that's motivated us to come here and start this project. And then it's a lot about education,
Yeah.
I mean, we want to try to build local crew, train people so local people know how to do it. Maybe they don't want it to look like this weird thing, but it's easy to, anybody can get solar electric. You can start catching water on your conventional house. There's a lot of different things, So what we look at is 6 different things. Using repurposed and natural materials, tires, cans, stones, things like that, bottles. We also look at making our own electricity, solar electric. It's not a problem. Then we look at catching water in the cisterns, and then we filter that and you can drink it. Then we look at thermal mass cooling. The ways to keep spaces cool with natural phenomena, like hot air rises, brings in cool air through a tube. The house is very massive, and that mass, if insulated, will stabilize the temperature. It contains sewage. That's a big one, containing your sewage. Lining outdoor planter cells with plastic, containing the sewage so it doesn't go into the river.
Right,
all the sewage just goes in the river or the ocean.
And that sewage can be used by the plants.
And then we plant plants in there. And food. And so then we grow food. That's the 6th thing. So there's 6 things that we've identified as what people need.
Yes.
And this building will provide all those things without being plugged into the corruption of the corporations and the government.
This is definitely intended to be a communal thing. You can see how quickly they work. This whole bridge was done within a week or 2 from the last time that we came. Everything that was planted here. Lots got open.
What is this here?
So this is a filter. They have multiple systems that they create on their own. They have their own electricity system, and they have their own water filtration system. So this large one is usually for the house, or just the drinking filter. That's usually what that is. Rainwater.
Oh, that's rainwater? Hey. A roof made out of car parts and random metal. That's awesome.
There's a lot of use
You want to have a structure like this, Mello?
I actually do, which is really funny because I've always dreamed about having rounded structures.
Yeah.
And like when I got into Earthship, I was seeing their standards and I was like, okay, I mean, this is cool, but I want a round design. And then I found out they were like, yeah, well, for the tropics, this is the ideal design. It's called the hut design.
Inside, it's nice and cool. Like, it's not even that hot.
Yeah, we stand outside and it's what, like 85, 90 degrees out here, and you go inside and any of these rooms, it's bound to be 70 degrees year round. You notice there's one here and there's one here.
Yeah.
So the way that the rooms are placed, everything has a very precise placement. So front door, you know, back window, when you open them, you have space for circulation. You have two holes that are running through about 12 inches thick. They're long metal tubes. They go from one side to the inside and they connect you to the outside.
Wow, it's so cool in there.
So this is literally our cooling system. There's at least 6 feet of compacted earth that's around them. And when you have any kind of like constant compacted earth, like underneath a certain point below the surface, it stays about 50, 56 degrees, like no matter what. So like if you like dig deep enough in the earth, it has a constant temperature of about 50, 56 degrees.
Yeah.
So when you have all of this buried mass around it, it permanently stays about 50, 60 degrees. So any hot air that's coming in from the outside will naturally become cooler as it's moving through.
It's fucking amazing.
And once you have that, heat rises. So whatever hot air is in this room will then go up that way.
I love it.
So that's our air conditioner. So this is what keeps everything insulated. This thing
is
right
that.
here.
The hole.
Yep. So this is the other side of it. I mean, obviously everything is going to be cleaned out at some point, but all of the air goes in through here. We have a bunch of packed earth around it. Stays at 56 degrees all the time. So that way that the sun that's beaming won't affect the metal.
Wow.
And you get clear air on the other side. Convection, that's what it is. So the whole system is based off of convection. So a little fun fact about Michael is that like the founder of Earthship is pretty much like a lot of his information was actually channeled. It was just really fascinating, especially at the time being, like, you know, imagine 60s, you know, 50s, 60s, 70s. So he pretty much used to strap himself to the top of a roof and stare at the full moon, like just full on, and just stay there the whole night and let it fry his brain.
I fucking love that.
So one of the first things that he tells all of us is like, you all need your brain fried. It's facts. It's like, you know, it's a really funny way of seeing it, and obviously, you know, we gotta take things with a grain of salt, but just the base thing is just that, you know, you have to like really forget everything and really unlearn everything in order to be able to receive anything. And when you're just staring at something, it doesn't have to, you know, the moon is really powerful, but it doesn't have to be the moon. You know, it could just be something that you focus on with intention, something that is of light, something that is of nature with pure intention. And you just let it consume you for a little bit. You know, you start to find your center. You start to find out your purpose and who you are without being distracted by all of these thoughts. So all of us should have a little moon frying session, I think.
Yes.
I think this might be black castor seed. If I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong, do not quote me.
Okay. What would this be for?
Black castor. So when you can cold press it.
Like oil, like the oil.
Yeah, like the oil.
It's good for the hair.
It's good for the hair. It also like you can take it for digestive purposes. It also helps with like purging.
Word?
Low-key, yeah. And it's just overall lubrication. Like, you can drink castor oil. Most people will use it for their hair because obviously the accelerated growth, but you can drink it. Oh, that's what it was. There's a paicha growing right here. I wanted to show it. It's so beautiful. Mira la palchita que se está creciendo aquí. This was not here last time.
Qué belleza.
It just shows you how quickly nature just does what it does. What's really beautiful is that they did kind of do a demonstration of like the original flag, because the original Puerto Rican flag actually The blue part was lighter than it is now.
Oh, really?
So they actually changed it up to a darker color so that it could look more like the one of the United States.
Why they did that?
Colonizers!
Damn.
And you can still see, you know, even the outline of the tires. And it makes it a cool little shelf.
So those are tires in there?
Those are tires.
Yeah.
Michael, the founder, really likes these like hobbit house type of structures.
Yeah.
So he makes all of the doors. They usually make all of the doors like this. It's pretty fascinating.
Wow.
And all of the doors are custom made. None of them are like, you know, to any kind of standard.
Nah, this is beautiful, yo. What?
So literally every door here is different.
Yeah.
Individually made. There's a lot of sacred geometry. So this part right here is the cistern. So every structure has cisterns that are built in. They usually like standard, I think like 1,700 gallons or so. And the thing about like having cisterns in the Caribbean, if anybody knows anything about like these regions, usually the cisterns are plastic. There's all like they usually are dark in color. And oftentimes because of space, they're usually on the roof or like they're on the outside of the building. Usually in tropical regions, it's really freaking hot, and these cisterns often get heated up, and they are, you know, prone to building up algae and bacteria. So it makes it so that a lot of the water becomes contaminated. So here, in order to be able to provide a solution for that, they still had to use plastic cisterns, but they completely buried them. So they stay cool, you know, shaded. They don't get any algae growing, so your water stays clean.
That's so dope. And so the water comes from rainwater, right?
Yeah. If you see the top part of this,
Yep.
the edges of the roof are kind of like corded. So the roof themselves are able to catch water. They're kind of rounded out. It will all just kind of be distributed and they will flow into each other. So all of the different structures are not the same size, so that they can all be able to just flow. So the water is caught from the roof. It's distributed into like the WOM, which is the water organizing module, and from there is a pump that usually helps with pressurizing the water, and that helps it to be able to be distributed throughout the house. And there's different filters. There's like standard 500 mesh filter, and there's like another 1,000 mesh filter, so that no sediment will get into your, you know, regular sink water. That water will be distributed to your sink, to, you know, your washing facilities if you have a washer set up, or it will be into your shower. And then that water, once you use that, it becomes gray water, and that gray water is then used for the toilet. So that way you're not using fresh drinking water to flush your toilet. You're using water that's already been used.
Okay.
And then from there, that water, once you flush the toilet, that goes into our botanical cells that we have.
Which
So
is
there's
like
the
right
botanical
here.
cell over here,
Yeah.
and there's also the botanical cell inside.
Right.
We can do like a shot for that.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest solutions for that is jungle plants. Jungle plants eat up sewage. And even though here we're in the tropics, clearly jungle plants grow everywhere. Earthship has actually created a format in which jungle plants can grow anywhere in the world. So all of the Earthship structures, even in Taos, New Mexico, even in the desert, they all have at least one banana leaf. At least one banana tree. Banana trees love sewage.
That's crazy, and we love them.
And they'll produce fruits. Look at these guys. Look at that banana flower right there. Look how cute. How cute. Those are gonna be bananas. How beautiful is that? You know the banana flowers are edible?
Yeah?
Uh-huh.
Have you ever tried one?
I never have, but I want to. Apparently in Thailand,
Hey.
there's banana leaf stew or banana flower stew. To me, it looks like an alien. So,
Like a what?
like an alien.
Yeah.
So they have a different design for the tropics and for like the standards of what they do worldwide. We make can walls by pretty much like just crimping the middle of the can so that they can be able to. Obviously, the ends are exposed just for reinforcement. But when you crimp the middle of the can, then they kind of like stay in a little pocket. How we make one of these is by making a patty out of mortar. And it just kind of get it nice and round, and like we'll just slap it on and then kind of place the can, you know, about 2 fingers apart, 2 or 3 fingers apart is usually the standard. And this kind of gets a little bit of its strength from like its lattice network. And you know, obviously the mortar in between. So it just kind of helps create some kind of a structure, but this isn't really meant to like be super strong necessarily.
Yeah.
The strength really comes from the tire and the packed earth. This is just for like, you know, if you just need to build a quick wall with it.
Okay, okay.
So just if anybody needs to just make a wall on a budget and you don't have all the materials, cans and mortar will take you a really long way.
Mais c'est moi, voici comment j'ai commencé. Pour que ces mots s'immiscent entre silence et ciment. Des petits mitons, partenaires. You know my musical addiction, gonna strike everybody. Every move in the body, with a mic and a rhythm. He's so good at with diplomatic for a minute, boy. Boy, like the winner. Every man that me a call in the area.
¿Cómo se llama eso, ese instrumento?
Esto es guiro.
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 Epa, me gusta el sonido de guiro.
Caramba. Hay otro sitio en el mundo que se llama Puerto Rico. Es muy de veras que somos ricos, y por eso que nos dicen la tierra porque la naturaleza con cariño y con respeto nos dio mucho de todito. Puerto Rico, rico que rico, rico, mayorito. Todos cantan a su tierra, le cantan con alegría, y aquí con su permiso quiero cantarle la mía, pero Puerto Rico, hey, rico que rico, rico, Puerto Rico.
Ah, ¡woo! Muchas gracias.